This edition of OSAMP Org Training is going to walk you through the travel procedure and paperwork process. So let's get going. So first things first, identify who's going to be traveling with you. Know who your chaperone is ahead of time and make sure that we have your travel registration information. That's less something that we need as an office and more to kind of help you plan your expenses. What's getting paid for, how much of it's getting paid for by SGA, and how much is being done by students participating. Next, you're going to do your research. How much is each element of this part going to cost? You do some of that when you're budgeting, but you're also going to need to know a little bit more about the up-to-date current price since we budget so far in advance. There are a lot of tools in the downloadable form section and the file section of EC Learn that can talk to you about how to schedule an appointment with me to go over these things, how to use the credit card if you've never done it before, and also this form that we're using to show you how to participate in org travel. So from there, you're going to make sure that you have your full list of students that are going and make sure that each of them has access to the travel release of claims waiver that they're going to need to fill out. Using the OSAMP credit card, you're going to make sure that everyone's arrangements are paid for, and then you're going to go in and actually do the work of getting everybody cleared to travel. So in the links section of EC Learn, you're going to find towards the bottom travel waivers for advisors as well as for students. Pass the link for the advisor one on to your advisor or chaperone who's going if it's not necessarily your advisor. But this one you're going to want to make sure that students participate. And again, everyone traveling has to fill one out. If they filled one out for a prior trip, they just need to let us know and we'll check to make sure we have their information. You only have to do it once. So the student travel release of claims form has the same information that the paper version did. It's got the first and last name, where you're living, what organization you're traveling with, our best way to contact you in case something happens while you're gone, and where you're going to be going. So we want to make sure that we have all of that information ahead of time so that if something happens on campus or in Boston while you're away, everyone can be notified. The background details there is designed to make sure that you know what you're responsible for, what the college is responsible for. And then the last thing we ask for is the in case of emergency contact. So pick somebody who is not also traveling with you that we can get in touch with in the event of an emergency or some other problem that people need to be contacted for. That way, we can make sure that everyone is safe and that you're accounted for in the event of some form of issue. So don't forget to agree to the background details and fill in all the rest of that information. And it's going to ask you one last time at the bottom to sign off on everything that you've agreed to prior. This is going to pull to a spreadsheet that will give a copy to the identified trip leader as well as the advisor, and then OSAMP will also have a copy to pay attention to while you're gone. So as long as all of this information is filled out for each participant on the trip, you're going to be just fine. But you're not quite done. After the trip, we're going to want to make sure that we follow up with you as well as your advisor so we know more about the trip, what went well, what we may have to address. Make sure all receipts are submitted and prepare a report for SGA so they know how the trip went. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get